Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Hangout. Oh my goodness, I know it has been a long time since I have shot or done any episodes for this podcast, but I just knew I had to come back and do a concert recap for this amazing show. And oh my gosh, if y'all already know, this is the Noah Kahan We'll All Be Here Forever tour. This is the Canadian leg. Vancouver was the first stop of this new section of the tour, and I'm going to dive into all of it in this concert recap episode. So stick around, hang out, and let's get right into it. Hi, hello. Okay. So a lot of you may know who Noah Kahan is now, but for those who don't, Noah Kahan is a folk, sort of pop-ish, rockish, alternative, everything genre singer-songwriter that is truly magnificent. You guys would know him from his viral breakout song Stick Season, which blew up in around the 2020-ish pandemic-ish time, if I'm correct. I don't know the exact time he ended up blowing up, because to me he was not blowing up. He was already famous to me. And let me rewind. I'm gonna give some context on my journey with Noah's music. First off, I had seen him open for James Bay back in 2019, which was, I guess, his first time ever coming to Vancouver. His first time, I'm not sure if it was coming to Vancouver, but his first time performing in Vancouver. And instantly after I had heard him play Passenger, I feel like I have, truthfully insane memories of him playing UBC Thunderbird Arena. And I was so lucky to even photograph him at that time too, because I was doing concert photography. And did I expect this man to blow up the way that he has? No. But it's not that I didn't think he was capable of it. You know, you don't expect artists that you follow to just instantly blow up like they're Taylor Swift. And I'm not comparing the two, but it's Taylor has had this long trajectory of a career, but the speed at which social media now launches artists is exponentially insane. Because obviously without TikTok, Noah's journey might have been a lot different. Without social media, a lot of artists' careers would be different. I'm going off on a tangent, but welcome to the Hangout. If you didn't already know, we go on tangents here. So yeah, I got to see Noah open for James Bay back in 2019 at UBC's Thunderbird Arena in Vancouver. Fast forward to, I guess, that same year, he ended up coming back to have his own headlining show at Commodore Ballroom, which, so there's so much going on because ticket prices on Ticketmaster have been going crazy, and when you play small venues, ticket prices are always more manageable. I remember getting tickets to that show, and then the record label willingly giving me tickets for that show as well to give away. And I was trying so hard to give these tickets away, and nobody knew who Noah Kahan was. Nobody cared. This was 2019, 5 years ago. I tweeted, my friend Sammy and I were tweeting, we wanted to give these tickets away because Noah was an amazing artist, and we saw that. And we ended up going to the concert that night and just giving the tickets to people on the streets that wanted to go because nobody claimed them, these free tickets. It's so insane to me. Fast forward to another year later, pandemic. nothing could have happened if we wanted to. And then say in 2021, this was in December, Noah came back to Commodore Ballroom to play another show. Again, wasn't sold out. I had bought tickets the day of for $30, and it was the best decision I had ever made. It was such a memorable show, and I had kind of forgotten bits and parts about Noah, but I was still listening to his music. And at that time, I wanted to save money, and so I didn't end up buying tickets when they first initially came out, which I'm a fool because I have no regrets of going to see him play that night. I remember he played Youngblood, which was probably a catalyst song for me into following Noah's career, really getting into his discography, which was pretty small at the time when I had gotten to know him. I think his big song at that time was Hurt Somebody with Julia Michaels, which I didn't even know him from that song, truthfully. There was so many other songs that caught my attention. And of course, feature songs don't necessarily give you the full picture of what an artist is capable of outside of their own solo single projects. So yes, Commodore Ballroom, he played Youngblood again, and I was just like, I was taken back into Noah's world, and he had played some new songs like Stick Season and New Perspective at this show, and we were waiting for this album. We were waiting for the Stick Season album to come out. And I guess that's when everything changed, and he just started blowing up left and right. He came back to Vancouver the following year. I don't even remember anymore. Was it the following year? 2023? Was last year? No, there was a year in between. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I guess there was a year break for his album release. Then he came to UBC, Thunderbird Arena, which is where I saw him open. He ended up selling out this show in August last year, and headlined it, which was actually insane because that was such a full circle moment for Sammy and I. And just hearing the crowd, seeing so many fans gather in that venue was insane. And now this man has sold out Rogers Arena, which is a venue that not a lot of people say sell out completely, wholeheartedly for all the fans. And that's not easy to do. I have been to plenty of shows, big names. People have not been able to sell it out. Noah over here sold it out so quick that people were literally like trying to find tickets maybe like the week after, a couple months later, and they could not because it was just sold out. I do want to talk about his Ticketmaster situation this time around, and I want to say that I think a lot of artists should be following this protocol, because his Ticketmaster policy, regulation, whatever, was that there were no Ticketmaster transfers in this ticketing situation. You'd have to go to this show with your entire group all at once. The second thing is that there were no ticket resales on Ticketmaster for anything higher than the face value. And with that, I think it cut out so many like ticket scalpers. So when we did go to the show, everyone was singing, everyone was dancing. People were genuinely there because they loved his music. They loved Noah. And I think that had a big part in why the crowd was so insane and so great, because you're not going to scalp the ticket and you're going to truly want to go as a fan. And it was so amazing to just see everyone standing there singing from their hearts and their souls, songs that have changed their lives, that have impacted their lives because of the lyrics, because of the melodies, because of just who Noah is. And it was just such an amazing show, and I am diving into it now. Now that you know the journey of how I've been following Noah's music for a while now. Let's quickly take a break, and we will return and talk about the show.
I'm in the business of losing your interest, and I turn a profit each time that we speak. Don't you know there's a coffin buried under the garden? It's there when we got here, but there when we leave.
For anyone that is interested, you are more than welcome to go over onto my main channel to watch the Noah Kahan concert vlog. You can check out all of the moments that happened in what I'm going to be talking about coming up about the show. So head on over to my channel if you want to go see the actual experience and live vicariously through us through the concert. Otherwise, we are going to dive into the show right now. So Noah ended up playing Rogers Arena in Vancouver, sold out the entire show, about probably more than 20,000 people. Wow. Wow. Insane. Sold it out. Doors were open at 6:30. We got in. There was a GA floor. There were seats on the floor. There was the lower bowl and the upper bowl. Insane. They had done pre-ordered merch at the Van Base. If you were familiar with that, you know what I'm talking about. And then, of course, they have merch at the show. Noah actually had his own merch truck. Anyways, yes, this merch, such good quality. It was about $110. Thickest hoodie I've ever gotten from a concert, from the independent company, I believe, if anyone cares. Anyways, concert day. We all had GA floor tickets. So a lot of people I know ended up waiting for barricade and lining up all day, which is fine. I used to do that all the time. And I am at the point of my life where I am I don't want to say old, too tired to, I don't care to be front row as much as I used to anymore because I love dancing and being in the back and fully embracing the music. People lined up at like 6 a.m. is what I've heard. But as the pit being smaller because half of it is floor seats, even being in the back of the GA pit, we had an amazing view, and it is harder depending on the height of a person because there are tall people, there are short people, and that's just how it goes. And you expect that going into a GA pit situation. Jensen McCrae ended up opening for Noah on our show. Our show was the first show for this new Canadian leg, this new section of this We're All Here Forever tour, as he just wrapped up his Europe section, Canada, then the States after. And they are running with this album, and I'm so happy they are because this album is truly beautiful. It's amazing. It ended up getting nominated for a Grammy, but we already know that. And so, yeah, Jensen McCrae had opened. She was a slow acoustic artist, very emotionally vocal and calming. It was great. And that lasted about, I want to say 40 minutes. Her set was pretty long considering, which was great for her. And it was her first time playing in an arena, and I thought that was super cool to experience that. And then Noah came on around 9:15. The venue was packed. I know with the GA floor situation, the ticket sales, they won't oversell it, so it's not unsafe in the pit. There is definitely some moving room in the back, so that's always nice, especially if you want to dance in the back. Noah comes on. Everyone's freaking out, as one would. You're at a Noah Kahan concert. The amount of overalls, the amount of bandanas, the amount of Converse, what else? Denim on denim. That was the vibe of the show. That's just the Noah audience to aesthetically explain it to you. He comes on, he has his old band, new violinist. She was amazing. And they instantly open with Dial Drunk. I was not expecting that. Truthfully, I was not expecting him to open with Dial Drunk. But everyone in the venue stands up, even the 300s. And if you know, people don't really stand up in the 300 section sometimes. Everyone's standing, everyone is jumping, singing, and Dial Drunk being one of his, I guess it's a second single, but he mostly performed it with Post Malone as a single, but to me, I guess it was a very popular song off of his deluxe album for this portion. And it was a very upbeat, high song that was near the middle of the set list for his last tour, and he came here. But of course, started off with a bang, Dial Drunk. And everyone is screaming, such a high pace opening. And funny enough, the Vancouver show had some technical difficulties. It was pitch black when he came on, and I don't think that was supposed to happen. But when the lights came up, I was blinded. I like the iCarly meme where Carly walks into her apartment and is flashed with a whole bunch of lights. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, and then he went into New Perspective, and I was like, I was not expecting that. Like, two amazing A-list songs he just threw out in the first 2 seconds, and I was like, sometimes you go to a concert and you want to hear your favorite songs near the middle of the show, so you've kind of adjusted and you're kind of like, oh, I'm ready for the show now. Now let's get into my favorite song. But when an artist like throws your favorite songs right off the bat, you're like, no, because then it's like, what are you waiting for? But luckily with Noah, his whole discography we love, and there's so many songs throughout the whole entire set list that were amazing. But New Perspective has a very close spot in my heart because he did perform it for us back in 2021, saying, oh, like I have a new song, would you guys like to hear it? And so he performed it. So hearing it always makes me feel so excited, and it's just such a fun song. He was asking if anybody had come here with someone that you love, and you look over to them and he's like, tell them something you freaking hate about them. This is New Perspective. And I was like, again, so two very high-paced, heavy songs starting off the set. And I'm actually just gonna pull up the set list because Sammy ended up getting the set list at the end of the show, just so I can list off what happened. Yeah, so New Perspective. Next, we go into Everywhere Everything. Again, another fun, heavy song. And I want to talk about, I'm going to sidetrack here for a second. When we got into the venue, was not expecting Noah to have a massive stage production setup, set design. He had explained on his Instagram story a few hours before the show saying how he would have new lights for the show, new setup, everything. He has a B stage, another crazy thing that I was not expecting either. So his stage kind of had like this fence, little layout, and then some sort of foliage or tapestry, depending on how you saw it. But they were like white tree looking things that also kind of were braided tapestry style. And already with that, there's kind of like an overlaying mountain design on the back where the screen later during the show had their projections and stuff. And they also had 2 big screens on the side of the stage, which were great because, of course, the venues being bigger, if you're sitting further back, you always love seeing screens because people are tiny on the stage. Back into the set list, Everywhere Everything was the third song. And again, I don't know what the set list is going to be, say, at a different show coming up. Maybe he has a rotating set list, because when he was at B stage, Glue Myself Shut was not listed on the set list, but he performed it. So maybe he's going to change that song in and out at different shows, because that is what I've noticed with a lot of artists now. They have changing set lists. So you are a little bit more motivated to go to different shows to hear different songs. And of course, the fourth song, he started talking about how if there are true fans in the audience, this is your song, this is for you. And if you don't know the song, you can leave. And of course, He sings False Confidence from the Busy Head album. People love the song. We're still at like the peak, like beats per minute, like high upbeat songs, and I'm losing my breath at this moment. Make sure you get water when you get into the venue. Stay hydrated. Have some sugar. You're going to be having the best time, but also stay safe out there. We go into Forever, his latest single. Slows down right away. Slows down. Then we go into Come Over. And this sort of setup, he was in his mom's living room. Super cute. Had like giant framed portraits of him and his siblings. There was a portrait of Penny, and just some like art that you would see in a living room. So it was really cute, very intimate. And it's always hard to make a setup intimate when you're at a venue this big. But he did an amazing job with that, and I thought I was super impressed. So over here, he's saying Come Over. And then the next song is what got me. He has kind of taken this song off of his set list at previous shows, but he has brought it back from what I have seen. He ended up singing Godlight. Oh. I cried. This song was an anticipated one between this and Passenger. And getting to hear this one live was very special because I like some songs you just don't expect people to sing ever again after their eras continue moving on, and this song being one of those eras. It hit, and it was so good to hear live, and it was such a moment. Yeah, I'm so happy that I got to hear it live in 2024, truthfully. And then we move away from this set. Actually, in between the transition of the first act and the second section into the living room, he had a moment where he wanted to read fan signs. So if you were going to the Noah Kahan show, bring a sign if you were on the floor or anywhere. He might read out your sign. Nobody had signs at the Vancouver show because nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew that he wanted to have a sign segment. And so one person ended up getting his autograph with his name or whatever, because they were the only person with a sign there. Next we go into Pain is Cold Water, I believe is a new song, unreleased. Then we go into Maine, again, a throwback song. That one I cried to too, because yeah, it's just been such full circle moments every single time I get to see him, hearing songs that have really established him, that have launched him into this world. Then we got All My Love, Your Needs, My Needs. Ooh, Your Needs, My Needs live. So good. And I will always laugh every single time when he says dead-eyed, because it never ever sounds like he says dead-eyed. It just says dead. Like, it's just so funny how he, like, dragged his word, and it was a joke for a time being. And of course, if you go see Noah, you know his facial expressions are everything. And so he has some crazy eyes that are just wild in that song. And just the production, the lighting. He has these little like light bulbs that kind of go up and down on the stage too. And that is one of the coolest like little set deck pieces that I loved about his show. They change colors. They kind of create this sort of like firefly light effect. And again, makes the stage feel very small and intimate. We go into Paul Revere, which I don't think I heard last tour. I'm trying to like 50-50 chance. I don't think he performed it last tour. So it was so great hearing it this time around. It was so beautiful live. And we go into You're Gonna Go Far, and of course, Homesick. Wow, if you love this album, he really tries to knock out as many songs as he can from this album. Stick Season, of course, Homesick is a moment because he got to do a collaboration with Sam Fender. Sam Fender did not come to Vancouver. No, he did not. Though anyone would love to have seen Sam Fender perform with Noah. But there was a gag moment where he faked out the whole venue, and there's always like that moment where the beat drops. The lights just all went black. And there's a pause, there's a moment. And then it comes back up and it goes, doosh, and that was just so much fun. And everyone's just like singing, screaming, dancing. Then after Homesick, he heads over to B stage. So if you're over in the end zone area, this is your time to shine. He sings Growing Sideways. Oh, and also if you were on the lower bowl section or even in the floor, he walks around to B stage through the audience. So if you cared to get a little high five from him, which I ended up getting a high five from him, which so yeah, he ended up singing Growing Sideways. I could not see a single thing from the main stage to the B stage because everyone in the floor seats ended up standing up on their seats. So we just had a little dance party in the pit while we waited until he came back to the main stage. Hearing Glue Myself Shut, again, another sort of throwback song. I don't know. I think anything that was older songs that he sings now is also just such a moment because the artist will sort of appreciate the songs that once were them and that are still now. And it's just always nice to see them sort of reminisce and throw that nostalgia back. So after he sang those two songs at B stage, he came back to the main stage and you start hearing the beats and the tones, and you're like, oh, it's this song. And it was She Calls Me Back, which just was my favorite song off of the album when it came out. And the bridge of this song, so good. So good. Yeah, I just always love hearing this song and everyone singing the numbers. And then he goes down and he goes into Call Your Mom, which he said at one point in time he was going to stop singing because it made him cry too much. But he says crying is good. So he ended up singing. He added it back into the set list, and that was such a moment. And then Orange Juice. And then we had Northern Attitude. And when we were waiting at our seat, like waiting before the show starts, there was some soap falling from the ceiling, and we were like, what's going on? And once Northern Attitude played, everything made sense. Noah ended up bringing the cold to Canada, and he had some snowfall during Northern Attitude. So that was such a moment because the snow's falling. He has the entire crowd singing the song back to him. And in that moment, I'm just like, oh, the crowd is so loud. Everyone is here for him. So I'm in shock. I have no idea how he feels about these moments because it's amazing. It's truly amazing to see how music has impacted so many people around this venue, each individually. And I in that moment too, I'm like, wow, I have to share my experience because I see how music is impacting every single person in this venue differently. And the audience was so broad too. There were kids, there were families, there were teens, there were young adults, there were adults, families, friends, groups and groups of people. And it was just so amazing to see the diversity of this man's music influencing so many people across the board. And I would love to have gotten to just go around every single seat, say, hi, how has Noah's music impacted you? Because that would have been crazy to hear, learn about, share. And I would have loved the opportunity to do that. So who knows? Maybe I'll go out and do streeters someday. Then we go into the encore. This one I was not expecting at all. He sang Young Blood. And again, I think I said it earlier at the beginning of the podcast, but Young Blood was a catalyst song for me into Noah's world. So getting to hear it live in 2024, 5 years after hearing it for the first time, you do get emotional. This song, I had on repeat for days when I first heard it. And did not expect to hear it this year. Did not expect to ever hear it again, quite frankly, because it is one of those very early songs that I swear he released back in like 2017, 2018, for like some of his original demos. And to see him still perform it today, wow, that was such a moment, and I was so grateful. And I even looked over to Jake and I was like, wow, like he's singing Youngblood, and Jake was like, what? Sammy was crying. I was like screaming, smiling, just in full awe. And of course, we had 2 more songs to go through. We had View Between the Villages, and then we had Stick Season. And this, I honestly think that this set list was like perfectly composed. As much as I would love to hear all of Noah's songs live, he touched upon like a great list. And I think the set was about 2 hours. We finished around 11. And I was expecting like a 9 to 10:30 sort of situation, hour and a half. But it was like a solid like hour 45, almost 2 hours. And during Stick Season, he had confetti. I was not expecting any confetti because usually they'll test it and sometimes you'll see some strands on the floor before you get to the show. And he had fall, autumn leaves, confetti, very Stick Season, very Noah. And that was such a moment, just like looking up and seeing all of this like production happen. And like obviously that brings into the experience, and that makes sense as to why tickets are so expensive for the shows now, because everything costs money. But oh, what a moment. Wow. What a moment. And I think everyone walked away feeling either emotionally supported, in a sort of sense of therapy. You lived some of the best memories, which is why concerts are always just the best. And this being the first concert of the year and everything, I missed it. Really missed it. And it excites me for the upcoming concerts that I have. I wish I could go see Noah at various locations. Tickets are a little too expensive and everything is sold out. Couldn't get a ticket if I wanted to do a spontaneous trip. I know he's headlining Osheaga, which is crazy, with Hosier on another day headlining as well. So if they get a collaboration there at some point, I don't doubt that would happen, but wow. He's going all across Canada, like deep Canada. We got Calgary, we got Edmonton, we got Saskatoon, we got Winnipeg, we got various Ontario stops, got Toronto. I think he's doing Montreal too, if I'm correct. But crazy. It's rare that artists will go through Canada. Canada being more than just Toronto and Vancouver. That's the set list in brief. Yeah, I was just so amazed by this show, and I cannot wait to see where he goes from here. And I think that's just the coolest thing, is just seeing an artist's journey and following it and seeing how it's impacted people over the years. And I'm going to share a secret with y'all. I had reached out to Noah's team to have him on the show back in 2021. This was before he was going to release Stick Season album, before he blew up. But because he had not released his album quite yet, he was not doing press. So his team let me know that. And I was like, okay, cool. Unfortunately, I never followed up. And here we are now, unable to have him on the show because this man is way too busy. He is too famous for a small podcast like mine. And I have a little bit of sadness and regret for this untimely, unforeseen future and series of events. But things happen for a reason. And it has just been a pleasure seeing him truly as just a fan and seeing his journey as a fan. And I think I will forever be a fan for as long as he creates music and art, because his like composition of lyrics and storytelling are so captivating, and like they just take you on a journey. And his music is perfect for road tripping and driving home to a sunset or whatever it is, but his music has truly impacted me. I'm so happy and lucky that I've gotten to see him so many times. If you ever get the chance to see Noah Kahan live, I hope you do. I believe the show, yeah, it ended around 11. Yeah, I don't know what else to dive into regarding this, but that seems like it is going to be the wrap of the Noah Kahan. We'll all be here forever concert recap. Please share your comments, share your experiences of going to this show. I would love to have like this little hub in the comments about your experiences. If you got merch, if you heard your favorite song live, what is your favorite song? Comment on the video, let us know, leave us a message on our Instagram as well. We are the Hangout with withSydWong, at the Hangout CA on all the social platforms. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the Noah Kahan recap, concert recap. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow us on all of our socials. Find us on any streaming platform from Spotify to Apple to Google Play. Go hang out, go listen and reminisce, and go watch the full concert video vlog if you want. After this, thank you so much for hanging out. We'll see. Maybe we'll do another concert recap again soon. But we'll see you next time. Thanks for hanging out.